Hello, you YouTubers. JBuzzsaw79 here with a deck profile. This is my chain beat profile. I have not upgraded this profile in nearly a year, so I mixed a few cards around since then, and I just want to give a updated version of this. So I'm going to drop right into it here. Got 3 of Banisher. There's a lot of people that don't like running 3 Banisher. I think it's good because it basically, keeps stuff from being in the grave. There's so many decks that still, excuse me, even with this being chain beat, just a lot of decks that still concentrate on keeping things in the graveyard. By putting a 1600 beater out, they would have to drop a 3200, and worry about trying to get stuff from the grave. So, really good card. I'll always run it, I think, at 3 for this type of build. Besides that, you also, of course, I do run 3. The Thunderbird. Thunderbird, I think, is really good. I tried running it at 2 for a while, and I just didn't see it enough. So I like having it at 3. The Rabbit, you gotta run the bunny at 3. Everybody hates the bunny. Every time I've played this deck, that's one of the first things I've said. So beyond those, I got 3 1-ups. I got 1 Ryo, the King of Anti, the Mole, of course, because freaking it's Mole, and last of all, 1 Bear. I actually did have 2 Bear in this deck at one point. I cut Bear to add another Dark Hole, because I thought that might be a better choice. So, but that is my monsters. There's 12 monsters. Moving on to spells. 3 Black Garden. I did try with this with a Seal for Calcos. I removed it and put the 3rd Black Garden in, just because the Seal is good. Don't get me wrong. However, Garden just seemed to be better. It allowed me to work around things easier than what, excuse me, than what having Seal for Calcos did. The pluses I get from them trying to drop a monster and having it is better than Silver Calcos. So that's why I put the 3rd Black Garden in instead and cut Seal. 3 Duality for consistency. Chain Beat needs its pieces, and it needs them now. And drawing from the deck just isn't going to cut it. Being able to search any 3 allows you to keep your board set, which is very important for Chain Beat. So that's why I run those. For 2 ofs, I did cut 1 Tenki from my other build I have. I had 3 before, but I did have Bear, and at one point I even had the Winged Rhinos, which also has been cut from there, obviously. Tenki's got 4 targets now, so I'm only running the 2. So it can be a dead once in a while, but I think 2's alright. 2 MST. I've seen some decks run 2. I've seen decks run 3. I've seen decks run none. I think 2 is good just because in some instances, depending on the deck you're playing against, they could be playing Swords of Really Light, Messenger of Peace, etc. Cards that in the back row will slow you down or stop you, and that could be what they need to get running. So in those instances, you do need the MST. So, excuse me. I am then running the 2 Dark Hole only because half my monsters are floaters, and you can easily play around Dark Hole. It's not something that should concern you. I mean, you can easily say, okay, I play Dark Hole, I bounce Rabbit, I bounce Thunderbird. Okay, there's no monsters, normal summon, something out, flip summon. Oh, excuse me, can't flip summon. You can normal something out is my point, and then go for it for a direct attack, especially like if you didn't have Black Garden out, If they had a board, you Dark Hole, drop, Banish Radiance afterwards, and then play Black Garden. You're pretty well set after that. The pressure really back to your opponent in that instance. And then I have 1 Dimensional Fissure. I would still like to see Konami bring D-Fissure back to 2. It's not as good as macro, and I think it's for the most part easier to play around compared to macro. So I would like to see it happen. So if you're not ever watching my video, I hope they heard it. Moving on, we're gonna go into the traps now. Traps are kind of not really super huge differences. One or two cards here or there, basically. The first one we're going to get into, I don't run any 3-ofs. They're all just 2-ofs now. 2 escape device. There's a lot of time. It's a good card, but when I ran 3-of, it just basically seemed like I would be sitting there for there summon one monster, so I could plus off of it, and I'd have to bounce everything. So I would basically play it. I would have to play around it by keeping out my floaters to really get the plus off of it. And there's times where I was sitting there with like 2 of them going, well, I guess I'll activate one this turn and then bounce everything out. Oh, next turn I'll do the same, and hopefully by then I've ran them out of monsters, so which kind of sucks. I switched to the 2 black horn. I'd rather play time space possibly. I'm not sure. Excuse me. I think time space might be a little bit better than this. It just depends. Because this only hits 1 in time space. Yeah, you have to pay life, but you can hit multiples. So when they mass summon and vomit, like, Clifford or something, let's say you can go ahead and then just, activate the time space and send them all back to the deck. Where this, I can only hit 1. So that's kind of a, thing there. Double chains. I've never ran triple chain. Double chain works really good for me. Just because there's certain times, certain effects, you just need to stop them. And, if you have only floaters out too, they summon something, they can just walk right across where you can Fiendish Chain it and buy yourself that round. Wait for your floaters to come back and attack over them, hopefully. So, double Mirror Force, because, again, sometimes with floaters, you might have an empty field, and you may have macro back there with D-Fish or something. And I'll say, okay, I drop it, I attack. Or I'm Mirror Force. Oh, and then it's all removed afterwards. So I think, I'm not saying you have to, because some people say, oh, you're stupid if you don't. But I think it's a very strong play to run D-Fisher, macro kind of support cards with the Mirror Force. And that's something, too. If you drop Banisher, they might be like, oh, well, I need to get rid of that Banisher. And they'll swing, and then just Mirror Force right away, too. So really good plays, I think. The last 2-ofs I'm running into the Dimensional Prison. I almost cut these, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because of the fact that, if you don't have a removal card in play at the time and they swing, well, excuse me, then they're going to be sitting there going, oh, well, I attack, and then it's like, well, some cards are immune to destruction of Mirror Force, or something like that, and it's like, well, I'll just go right out and banish it. You can't, do nothing about that then. So I think you do have to run the deep prisons. I don't know. I mean, that would be something to consider, I guess. Moving on. Bottomless. Torrential. Compulse. Of course, my Macrocosmos. And I added 1 Needle Sealing. Now, Needle Sealing, though, I did kind of add as a last-minute thought. Depending on how it plays out yet, I haven't play tested heavily right now with the new format from February, but I may take this out for Vanities. I don't know. I think if you have enough field control, it doesn't matter necessarily if you stop special summons. Not really. But if you can wait, and play it by the seat of your pants or something, I want to say you could really just keep the Needle Sealing in instead of Vanities. I don't know. Otherwise, a book. Those would be my only 2 choices. So either book or Vanities. And I don't know what else I take out besides this right now to add both of those in. So there's my deck. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Throw some comments in if you wish. I love reading them. If you feel like subscribing, go ahead and do that too. But always please try to share the video with others so we can kind of get some thoughts out there and see what other people think. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. And this is JBuzzsaw79. Thanks a lot, and see you guys later.